From Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine, Waker's pearls and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance, it was resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricated real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables every set. Performed the Deanest nightly, never free from the deck. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in disguise. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the struggle. Turn the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We build temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they try to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage. To reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan out as crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, is a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tenth that was prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative. We offered all on text, 100 years of proof, and that we're destined. Where was next? Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the largest to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double the inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right. This is Under the Groove Podcast. Hey, and we are touching bases with the people. Grand Rising, everybody. A few snafus just a minute ago, but getting a little better at it, you know. So I'm saying I was able to, rush, ask a couple of questions right quick and get it back right. I don't know what I pushed. I'm telling you, man, I'm learning this shit, but boy, I need to do more. I need to do better at getting it together in terms of this technology stuff, man. That being said, we are touching bases with the people. I want to welcome in the RGC. You guys come on in here. Let's do what we do. Have a lot I would like to talk about. I see you, Antonio Anthony. Good to see you, brother. Grand Rising to you and yours. Confident and trust that you are making, your life a better life worth living, man. Looking out for you and yours, doing the things you're supposed to do. Again, welcome, bro. Yeah, this stuff is crazy, man. This stuff is crazy. All right, Anthony Tibbs, I see you, brother. He said, what's up, my great people of power, soul, brothers and sisters? Hey, man, everything is everything. And here we are. Again, it's the Grand Rising, And it ain't just because we tapping in right now on touching bases with the people. It's the fact that we are here. We're in the moment, man. So that's a good look always. Don't minimize it, you guys. Don't minimize it. Maximize it. Maximize that Grand Rising. But this is where we touch bases with the people. We keep everything above board, man. We focus on the focus in order to get down with that get down, whatever we choose that get down to be. This is what we're on. It's good to see brothers up in here. All right. Good to see you too, bro. Anyway, that being said, oh, man. So I thought I want to kind of take my time before I get into this get down because I went and did some research on the conversation pertaining to the conversation we had last night about AI and its effects on society, human beings. And man, what I discovered will shock most of you. It shocked me. So I learned a little more than what I thought I knew about AI. AI is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm waiting on a few brothers, especially our brother Al Thomas, James, Chris, you brothers come on in here, man, and join us. Raymond Skull, come on up in here, you guys. Let's talk about this because I'm telling you, this is significant. This is significant. Also, there was a question posed by Al last night about the UBI. I went and looked at that, researched that a little bit, so we can talk about that as well. Also got something else on my mind pertaining to just the state of the world, man, the youth. We think that well, we don't just think it, we know gang banging is a scourge. It's not a good look, all right? But there are other things occurring in the world, man, that I'm telling you we miss because of saying we've said here on this channel, there's a lot at play to distract us from what's really going on in the world. And I think that's significant, man. I'm talking about the distractions. These distractions are very, very significant, man. They preclude us, they prevent us from getting to the bottom of things, from understanding what's going on in this world we live in. A lot of us are under the impression, man, that the only thing that is really happening is what we see on YouTube or those YouTube channels that dispense nothing but negativity and destruction, that propagate, perpetuate, promote, advocate, all that's, in the communities that ails us. But it's a lot bigger than that. The picture is so, man, it's broad, man. There's a lot going on that we are not aware of. And I'm telling you guys, man, we got to find a way, man, to come into the know, of what is really happening and how what's happening affects not just our lives, but the lives of those we claim we profess to love as much as we love ourselves. So yeah, let's get up in here, man. All right, I see you, Queen Nzinga. She said, rise and Wednesday shine. Peace and blessings to the kings and queens in the Royal Group congregation. Anthony Tibbs said it's just the tip of it. Yeah, it's just the tip of it, man. There's so much going on. I'm telling you, since last night, I've just been researching, and again, I'm not shocked per se, but I'm like, whoa, taken aback. I'm taken aback by what's coming down the pipes at us. And again, we don't really understand this stuff, man, because it's not really meant for us to get a hold of, to comprehend, understand, and, work towards, work against, or whatever our work needs to be. They got us in such a way to where, yeah, we don't know where to apply ourselves, our energy, because for the most part, it's directed at that which is so frivolous. We're stuck on frivol, man. And we got to get out of that mindset. But anyway, I think I'll start with the smallest thing first. Al Thomas did mention the UBI. I did go and check that out. I read it actually, a little extensively, and come to find out, the UBI is actually a program that's supposed to it's put in place to fight against poverty. However, the UBI system or program is not for everybody. It's actually for the youth, those who are coming out of foster care, or old people, who don't work, or have no steady flow of income to just make it through the day, the week, the month, or the year. That's what those programs, or that program, is geared towards. Again, it's UBI is basic, universal basic income. UBI, it's a government guaranteed, reoccurring and unconditional cash payment given to individuals to reduce poverty and provide financial stability. It's not welfare. It's totally different. And again, it's geared towards those who are actually coming out of foster care, things like that. The youth who are trying to get up and running, who needs, sources of income to make, ends meet. But it says, yes, this applies to Los Angeles through targeted, temporary, guaranteed income pilots like Big Leaf, which is also a program that's similar. All right. Big Leaf and Breathe, which provide monthly, or roughly monthly, $1,000 to eligible low-income residents. But again, I read up on it, and everybody's not eligible for that. That benefit is not for everyone. And also it lasts for anywhere from a year to 3 years. There's a certain amount of money put into each individual's account, or it's given to them monthly. After so long, or after the amount is up, then that is up. And again, from what I read, The program is actually geared more towards those who are coming out of foster care, or the youth who has some type of hardship but want to do better, find ways, to get income so that they can take care of whatever responsibilities they have in their young lives, but it is not for everybody, and again, it's nothing that you have to sign up for or nothing like that, but it is out there for the youth. And I would imagine, I guess, if one is willing to read or delve even deeper into that, it may be, or it may serve those other than coming out of foster care. It might serve the youth in the streets with nowhere to go, that type of thing. So this is a program I think I would suggest, or should be, or needs to be suggested to the youth in the streets. This is a way for them, to get some kind of money or income to actually keep them out the streets, keep them out of the streets from doing those things they think they need to do just to acquire some finances, get some money in their pockets. I think that's a good program. There are three. There's the UBI, which is Universal Basic Income. There is other pilot programs, one called Big Leaf and the other called Breathe, and they provide, monthly stipends of $1,000 to, young people and old people, depending on whether or not you meet the criteria. Again, there's nothing that you have to, there's no accounting for it. They give you the money and you do what you have to do with the money. They don't ask for basic, I imagine they get basic information, but not that information that delves into, your business. You know what I mean? So again, that's something worth looking into. Yeah, that's something worth looking into. Again, the targeted population are, though these programs are not for every resident, but are targeted at specific low-income households, such as those living below the federal poverty level or facing extreme financial challenges, often with dependent children. That's one aspect of it. And I think that one, or what would cover that description, would probably be Big Leaf, or the other one called Breathe. Yeah, something worth looking into, and we'll probably cover that again before we call it a night. That's one issue. I see the thing is lighting up right quick. That's good. That's a good look. Rakufu, what it do, bro? Tuki Buki is an African movie classic you have to watch. Bub is written from the inside out word. Okay, that's something I'm gonna put on the list then. I hope I pronounced that right. Toki Boki or Tuki Buki. We'll see. I will watch it, bro. And ain't no hopefully we can discuss it next time. We will discuss it, all right? We'll get to the bottom of that as well. We'll sit down and chop that one up. Yeah, I haven't heard of that movie, to be quite frank. I haven't heard of that. So yeah, I was saying, Rakufu, our conversation last night, which mostly dealt with or involved AI. My take on AI was that, or is that, AI is going to do some things that's going to affect, the human race in ways a lot of us, in ways a lot of us aren't going to comprehend or don't think will occur. My delving into that, I come to find out that AI is just, again, the tip of the iceberg. There are two other systems involved that's going to evolve as a result of AI. In fact, they're already in effect, these systems. One is called AGI, and that is artificial general intelligence. And then there's ASI, artificial superior intelligence. And from all accounts, these are the systems that will take over these jobs we think we're secure in. They will be in the white collar workplace. They will be in the blue collar workplace. And again, AI is just something, it's nothing near or close to AGI or ASI. AI is something just totally different, but it is the gateway, so to speak, to AGI and ASI. And I suggest brothers go check that out. Go check that out, read up on that, and understand, what's coming down the pipes at us. Also, as a result of me finding out that information, I went and researched, okay, if this is going to be the norm, in time, this will be the norm where artificial intelligence, actually just do most of what we're doing. What then will be available to the human race, to human beings in terms of skills, employment skills, or knowledge? Then how do humans survive if AI will be, taking over most of what we do? And from what I gathered, from what I got was, it is suggested by AI that we go and educate ourselves in certain skill sets. One of the top recommendations was for us to learn about AI in terms of maintenance, repair, coding, things of that nature, programming, that's the suggestion. Because it was also mentioned in that suggestion that that's going to be, or that will be, some of what will be available to us, because most of these jobs will be taken over by artificial intelligence. And again, the point I was making last night is it's just real simple. I think it's already in effect. I've had to talk with some people today, and they say, man, this really, this is like maybe 5 to 10 years old. So what we're getting up on now is already, it was already on the table, it was already on the board. We're just getting a hold of it because they progressed and they're doing more shit now. And that's how it works. I agree with what was said to me earlier about it. And that's how it works with the government, especially. They'll tinker and work on something and have it in effect. We won't know or be the wiser until maybe 10 years later. Then they'll say, oh, boom, they'll put it out as a product or something. And it'll be all the craze, it'll be this trend, this thing everybody's doing. They'll only give it to us after they've moved on and researched other applications, other systems that evolved from that, And so, yeah, it was said to me, hey, man, yeah, that's really not new. This thing we're talking about, robots and cyborgs, things of that nature, man, they already exist. And I agree with that totally. But one of the main things we have to understand is that, okay, they're going to be in the workplace. They're going to take positions and jobs from people because it's cost effective. Think about that. It's cost effective, in a lot of ways. They don't have to worry about the issues that come with human employment. Machines don't have those same needs or necessities. Certain things that we require as human beings that machines have no need for, So the companies who buy into these new systems or bring these new systems into their place of business, that, hey, they off the rip, they're going to know they're going to make, they'll make more money. There's no wage they have to pay out. There's no vacation time. They don't have to worry about a human employee saying, hey, I'm not feeling good today because they partied the night before, just can't get up and come to work. Machines won't do that, and this is all I was trying to impart to brothers last night. Now, couple that with the fact that certain careers, certain jobs are, things that people do and think that these positions or careers are secure. They are not. We talked about 3 last night. Lawyers, being in, a court of law or whatever, medicine, the hospitals, and, teaching, the universities. Again, I'll wager with anybody that those positions will be, I keep thinking about commandeered, but not commandeered, but those positions will be replaced by AGI or ASI. Again, AGI is artificial general intelligence. ASI is artificial superior intelligence. In the last one, ASI, they said, man, they're going to think on a level 10 times that of a human being. You know, the only thing missing, and I have to point this out because Al said that there was the intrapersonal aspect of some of these jobs. The only one that actually, well, two actually, that was mentioned was education and the medical field. You know, people being, you know, around people who are suffering, you know, health wise or learning educationally. Uh, is something about, at least they're saying there's something about people being in that space, because humans have the ability to have empathy, to sympathize, you know, or to give other human beings a certain comfort when they're going through something. The same could be said about education. It has to be on, they're saying it has to be on the educational level, well, a person to person level. We have to also be able to communicate as human beings do with one another, even in the space or when we're in that space of learning or being educated. I say, okay, be that as it may, I don't fully agree, because if we look at again just what they're doing with this technology, they will be able to incorporate those things, artificial feeling, so to speak, you know. Again, just there are too many movies, man, that depict these people who are involved in, you know, these systems in, you know, regarding intelligence, artificial intelligence. They input in them or they code in them the ability, man, to feel. You know, you know, too many movies describe that and it depicts it. Um, uh, they give them the not just the ability to the capability to be able to almost relate. You know, if there's such a term or such a thing could be attached to automatons, you know, robots, you know, automatons, you know, and things like that. But again, I think that that's the case. I think that that's the case. So, in terms of human beings being secure in the world, when the time or such a time when artificial intelligence starts to take a foothold in the world, you know, that's that one there is, I don't even consider it a toss up. I think that we're going to be in a bad space or a bad place. And there's a lot to support that. Again, the research is there. The research is there. And then you have to take into account that sometimes when we read some things, it's rigged like that, or it's put down or described in that way to not have people panic or, you know, become stressed out or full of anxiety in terms of, you know, losing a means, you know, losing employment or a means to take care of themselves. You know, people begin to wonder, okay, what am I going to do? So yeah, those in power, those who control everything, want to, you know, met it out a little bit, spoon feed you. You know how that should go. You spoon feed them a little bit, you know, make them feel like everything's okay. You appease them, then boom, you hit them with a little something, you know, something a little stressful, a little shocking. Then you spoon feed them again, you know, calm them down. You boom, you hit them again. It's a trick, man, they use, you know, where they give you a treat just to placate you, to pacify you, you know, while all the while they're running that program, you know. So that's something to think about, man. All right, man. I see how it's going how it's supposed to. Okay, Rakufu said AI is like the car. When it came into being, a lot of the G's, let me read that again, excuse me. AI is like the car. When it came into being, a lot of the G's of that time refused to ride in those metal boxes and they rode off into the sunset on their horses. Now look, cars are the norm. Yeah. You know, and that's what technology does. You know what I'm saying? You know, it starts off small, you know, but eventually either you're gonna get in the car because you know the car provides you with this opportunity to get there faster. You know what I mean? And then once you realize, okay, the car in a lot of ways, you know, it shields you from, you know, the elements. You know what I mean? You ain't got to ride on a horse in the rain or the snow. You know, you can be inside this carapace, you know, this shell, that protects you. You know what I mean? Now, it has its disadvantages, especially if you're in a car wreck, you know, but that is the difference. That's what, you know, it offers. You know what I mean? Yeah, I see the same thing occurring. You know, right now, a lot of people, a lot of us are going to be against it. But the fact of the matter is that they're going to push that out there in such a way to where a lot of us, myself included, probably will have no other choice other than to get on board, you know, to go along. Uh, Polk was asking last night, okay, then how do we combat that? You know, how do we make this work for us? And again, my what I found out last night and today was that, yeah, there are certain skill sets that are still going to need human beings in terms of the maintenance for artificial intelligence. You know, certain skills will still be required. I had someone tell me today that, well, no, you got to think about it. AI ain't going to do plumbing. It ain't going to do this. And yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. You know, AI going to be able to stoop down, bend it, you know, to run a snake through pipes and all that other stuff. You know, in fact, AI will have the technology embedded in it where it will see past dirt, grass, and dirt down to the pipes to find where the problem is, where the crack is, where the busted pipe is, where the clog is. You know, be able to tell you if that's lead pipe down there, or if that PVC. You know what I'm saying? That's the advantage of AI. And just in my in the way I think, it just makes sense to equip, you know, these systems. We're talking about artificial intelligence with, you know, those things, those tools that would make the job, you know, a lot more simpler, a lot easier, a lot quicker, you know, as opposed to human beings doing the work. And like I said, man, human beings have certain needs. There certain things have to be afforded to human beings, you know, in an 8-hour, 10-hour span of work that you don't have to subject or apply to artificial intelligence or machines. You know, that's just it. But yeah, I say, hey man, they'll be in plumbing too. They'll be in construction, whatever, you know. They'll be running into burning buildings, you know. They'll have that, you know, that that infrared or whatever they have, you know what I'm saying, to look through buildings, see if someone's trapped on the 10th floor. Can they save them in time? You know, but hey, is someone up there? Boom. AI will go into effect, do what it's supposed to, what it was designed or, you know, coded to do, and possibly go save a life. You know, that's what I think, man. But I get your point though, Rakufu. You know, a lot that we involved, a lot that, you know, we coming to doing, coming to knowing or whatever. We didn't just jump into it. Yeah, there was some type of hesitancy as a result of, you know, what this new get down was. You know, we're thinking, hey man, I ain't here. Right. I'd rather ride my horse. You know, we got a relationship. We're gonna do it there rather than jump in a car, you know, something I don't know how to function or, you know, make work, you know, properly. You know, so I get that. I get that. James say, salute, bub, man. How you doing, loved one? Happy Wednesday, big cuzzo. Right back to you, man. Happy Wednesday and grand rising to everybody, man. Peace and blessings to the Royal Group congregation, the kings and queens in it and who are a part of it. Hey, like I said, grand rising, man. Glad to see y'all up in here, man. All right, James said, bub, I'm taking all fades with these robots. Best believe me. I ain't going down by the mechanical hands of no punk MF robot, my brother. Don't waste your mind. People are lazy and the elites know it. Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, this is a game changer. You know, the elite see, you know, those who have everything run everything. You know what I mean? And uh those who have everything run everything, they do it to have more. To have more. You know, these people, they do not understand the concept that when you die, ain't none of that going with you. You know, when your people die, let's say you are a billionaire 10 times, 100 times over, maybe even a trillionaire, there's nothing for, you know, you or yours to have to ever worry about, you know, but they continue to want more, want more, want more. That's that greed, you know. That's what capitalism does to you, man. It's a lot deeper than that, actually. But, you know, for whatever reason, they want more. They continue to want more, 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 more. Not just more money, but more power. They want to control things, and they get into the mindset, well, the world's too crowded. Okay, I got enough money. Let's do some bio research. Let's see how we can thin the herd. I think COVID was an example of that, if you ask me, um, the Bill and Linda Gates Foundation, think about that. But I think that, man, these people who run everything, that, these corporations that run the world, man, that's how they're looking at it. More and more, more for them, how do we control the population? How do we save money? In business, that's always the bottom line. How do we make money, and not only make it, but how do we spend less? All right. And this is one of the ways, AI, and this is why we're going to see it explode the way it's going to explode. And that's just because on the basis of these people are thinking, how do I save money? All right. So those of us who say, man, this is not a good look, we need to prepare also, in spite of the fact that, yeah, we see not only the risk, but what could come, or what could be very well be a catastrophe as a result of utilizing or implementing AI into the system, the way they're planning on doing it. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. And I'm telling you, man, it might be 10 years from now, but we're going to see it. Someone said, hey, man, we're at the precipice. We're right at the rim of that Jetson stage, the Jetsons, I actually think we're there. Again, they just haven't divulged most of it to us, because it is a process in terms of how they filter it out to, the world, the people of the world, because people, if you do that, people were going to already be like, hey, man, we could end up extinct, or, not only that, but on a lower, thought pattern in the process, be like, hey, man, they're taking our jobs. Now, how do I make money? How do I take care of myself, my family? And the rich are not thinking about that, because they're thinking about how they're going to take care of their selves and their family, and that's why I say this, it's going to be a process where our jobs will be eliminated or given to or done by artificial intelligence. Hope I'm making sense, man. Hope I'm making sense. Rakufu says, so yes, you're 100% right. We have to learn AI or ride off into the sunset like a dinosaur. And I think that even if we learn AI, the majority, I think, of the world population that's going to happen anyway. That's going to happen anyway. Just think about it. If let's say 50%, let's say 40%, let's say 30% of the world's jobs, the jobs human beings do, are taken over by artificial intelligence, there is where we begin to see the lowering of human standards. In other words, that's when we start to recognize that human beings are about to suffer even more. I mean, shit, we suffer now. AI is not even in the workplace, on that level or extent just yet, but still there aren't enough jobs as it is. You know what I mean? Or if there are that many jobs or enough jobs for, the human race, they don't pay enough, So regardless, I think this is going to be a problem. That's just my thoughts on that, man. I just think it's going to be a problem, man. And a lot of us will end up being dinosaurs, or we will end up riding off into the sunset, dying off, as a result of artificial intelligence. But again, they're saying right now there is a window in terms of skill set that will keep us in the game, but that skill set has to be, or has to evolve around the maintenance, the coding and programming of artificial intelligence. That's what's going to be left. Robots and machines will plant the food and harvest the food. Will build the skyscrapers. Will build the infrastructure. You know what I mean? They will find that, in fact, I said this last night, or it was said last night, that they're already in the medical field. They are already in the hospitals. They already do surgeries. Now, couple that artificial intelligence with, like I was suggesting or pointing out last night, nanotechnology. Combine those two together, game over. Game over. You know, man, I went and put up some stuff today, man. They already have nano-like machines that they are, if they aren't already using them on the super rich, they will come into effect, or they will be put into circulation to help those who, you know, aren't super rich. You know, as it scales down and more companies start, you know, producing these, you know, this nanotechnology, this AI, you know, a lot of it will become available to us in terms of medical, you know, health issues and stuff. But hey, man, it's here, man. It's already here. So, you know, James going to say, man, all them robots need is an oil change, some WD-40 and a recharge. But again, you also have to consider hackers, bub. Them nerds will hack into them things and have them shooting everything in sight. That's one aspect. That's one way to look at it. I do not disagree. But then there will be that other side of that other group of hackers who will attempt to defeat artificial intelligence by hacking into it and shutting them down, you know, frying the circuits or whatever. You know, again, like you said, imprinting code in them to have them do some opposite than what its original programmers programmed it to do. I think that, hey, man, there are so many possibilities in terms of what this is going to bring to the table for human beings. You know, they're going to be that sector, that, you know, that group, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be called the resistance when this thing happened, that is going to fight against artificial intelligence, you know, by any means, you know. And that being said, we ought not still take it for granted that we will be successful. They will equip artificial intelligence with certain defenses. You know, I'm telling y'all that we're not even on that level in terms of comprehending what that will be. You know, I was looking at some again today about artificial intelligence. Oh, so it's in the same vein. The United States government, or the Department of War is what they call it now, and it's no longer called the Department of Defense. It's called the Department of War. They have a contract with this one company called Anthropic. All right. And Anthropic, the CEO or co-founder of that corporation, was also the founder or co-founder of this app, or this AI system called Claude. All right. And Claude did big things. You know, Claude is supposedly well known throughout the world for its contributions to AI, and, you know, all, you know, applications it could be applied to, or what it can do. Anyway, he ended up messing with the government because of Claude. But now he is against what the government wants Anthropic to do. Pete Hegseth says that the United States military, the Department of War, do not want AI to be woke. And I'm like, what the hell? You know, so in other words, they're saying, or they're demanding him to not encode, or not have, you know, this AI, this intelligence, this artificial intelligence coded with the woke concept, or, you know, whatever that woke is. You know, they don't want it to have that at all. He's bucking though. He's like, nah, man, no, that's bad. You know, he's basically saying that's a bad thing, man, if we don't encode this woke concept, you know, in AI, that can prove detrimental to us. Pete Hegseth and the government said, we don't know. We don't care about that. We're talking about national security. So therefore, these machines, this artificial intelligence, cannot be woke. And that made me think. I'm like, oh shit. So let's say they do that. By Friday, he's got to give them an answer, or they're going to pretty much take his company anyway. There's certain laws in government that could go and take your company from you if it's in the interest of national security, right? Anyway, they're going to take it, or he's gonna fold and say, okay, man, what do y'all want me to do? And again, I think he's going to fold because you are already working with the government, but all of a sudden you say, no, I don't want to do this, but most of what you've done has led to this. So anyway, long story short, man, I'm thinking they don't want, AI to be woke or have this woke coding in it, because if they have to use, AI robots or whatever against an uprising, believe and know that they will. And they want them, those AI machines to do their bidding. So I was not surprised to read that, just kind of messed up about it. Like, damn, this is how they really think. This is how they're going to get out. So yeah, we can hate them all we want. And hopefully though, well, not hopefully, let's say that there will be again that resistance that will know how to fight against and educate the people in terms of fighting against artificial intelligence, especially when we begin to learn and see that it's being used against us. It's not going to necessarily be to our benefit. If you're not working with them in that system, that program, then it's not for you. Yeah, they're going to be all kind of hacking stuff. James going to say, man, I hope all is well with the brothers and sisters in here and out there. I'm here thankful to have my life that is. Gonna puff this thing and drink this tea while Bud puts the real into focus. Appreciate that, man. I'm in the habit of not wanting to drink my tea while we, sitting down chopping it up, man, which is a good thing, keep me on point, man. Raymond Sco, what it do, bro? What it do? Just in passing, I want to say this right quick, Roscoe. You sent me something that is linked into TikTok. I don't mess with TikTok, so there's no way I can see it. I'm not gonna download TikTok on my shit. I don't want nothing to do with TikTok. My wife even sends me stuff every day, and maybe half of it or some of it is TikTok. So I don't really get an opportunity to see what she was sending me unless I look at it on her phone. But I'm one that I'm not with TikTok, man. There's too many what's the word for it, man? Too many terms and agreements you have to check off, to be a part of that or see what's going on TikTok. And it's the American version of TikTok, I might add. From what I read, in the end, it isn't just TikTok who does this. A lot of these platforms do it. They demand more and more of your information, more and more acquiescence into what you're doing in your day. They want to know who you calling, the last picture you took, what's your location. All this is a bad look. And speaking of that, I'll get back to what we're talking about, Raymond, about your videos. I haven't checked them out either today. I will get to that tonight. But speaking of that, I just learned also the banks are doing this now as well. So for those of us who have bank accounts, checking our savings, business, whatever, little do we know the banks are already in motion without our consent to integrate their system into a government system that actually pretty much not only knows what you're spending every dime on, every dollar on, but it attaches your money now to crypto. So it sees everything you spend it on, and again, it already does that, but it has more power, a broader power now. So, say for instance, through your bank linking itself into the government system, it not only can dictate or determine what you're spending, where you're spending it at, who you're spending it with. It also, it follows you wherever you go. There you are in the system. It can see where you are. It has the ability to determine whether or not it wants to allow you to spend. Let's say you have an expense of $1,000. The system can till you know. We're not going to give you $1,000. You know, we'll give you 300. You know, it just too many. It has too much leverage. You know, too many liberties. You know, and so what I'm saying in terms of that is, I see a erosion of just our rights, you know, our freedoms and stuff, you know, to do whatever it is we please to do. It's being dictated, you know. I was reading somewhere where I think I said this on one of on some content I dropped. Our lives are being determined by those in power, you know. They determine how we live, how we go about living our lives, to be more, you know, exact. And it's going to be through the dollar. The dollar is going to be obsolete in a minute. You know, a lot of us don't think so, but it will be. We will be using it. Will only be cards and or attached to cryptocurrency, shit like that. You know, there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on, but yeah, our freedoms are eroding. You know, slowly but surely. Slowly but surely, man. Our freedoms are eroding, and the system, AI, is in our lives and on levels or in degrees we're not even wise of, or you know, we have no idea about. And again, to me, it's not necessarily scary, but it's like that's like a red flag, you know. That's a red flag, man. That means, okay, I'm not in control of my life, you know. But yeah, there that is. All right, Raymond Skull, man. What, like I say, man, peace and blessings, bro. And I'll get down. I'll get to you get down, man, for sure, for sure. You say peace and blessing, you bub. May you and your family be blessed. I trust the kings and queens in your community are good. Love and respect to the gods and goddesses in the Royal Group congregation. And I want to extend that right back to you, man. Hopefully the Rays, man, the kings and queens who are in that community, man, are above board. They're focused on the focus. And they understand as well, man, that we're in those times. You know, we as a people, man, are about to be up against it. You know, again, man, the shit we see happening in our communities is child's play. You know, and again, it exists. It's here for a reason. It's cold distractions, man. Cold distractions, man. But hopefully that community, your community, as well as your immediate family, man, as well, bro. All right. Peace and blessings right back to you, man. Number love. You said last night I looked up who created AI, and there was no mention of David Blackwell. He did play a crucial role in its development. No credit to him, though. Didn't I say that? I was going through before we went on, before we, you know, touching bases came online. I wrote it down, and I was kind of, and man, y'all won't believe how much stuff I got around here, but I do. I have a lot of stuff. But anyway, oh, here we go. I don't know, man. Sometimes I have to be mindful of the words I use, because some of them, you know, be understatements or they just don't fit. So that's why I stop sometimes, think about it like, nah, that don't fit. But anyway, man, I was disappointed that David Blackwell wasn't in that list, and it was 4 names. I don't recall the 4th name, but I wrote down 3. They give all the credit to the clear. David Blackwell, like you say, Roscoe, is no mention of him whatsoever. And I went and I tried to look all the way up into the 1960s and 70s. His name did not exist in the history or the so-called inception of creation of artificial intelligence. And if that ain't a slap in the face, I don't know what is. But they have Alan Turing, John McCarthy, and Marvin Minsky. Those are the top 3 names that they talk about, and they want to be recognized as the fathers, you know, the innovators, the creators of artificial intelligence. Again, I just thought that was a slap in the face, man. But, and then again, I realized, I immediately thought about just us as a people here, you know, what we've been through and how they do that. That's a habit, you know, that comes natural to them to do that, you know. And again, there's a reason for it. But damn, you never really get used to it, you know. You never get used to it, man. And them slaps, man, they sting a little bit more and more every time. You know, every time we go in something, we say, "Oh man, how y'all gonna erase us?" That slap did, get a little harder every time, man. I'm tired of being slapped. I'm tired of seeing the people be slapped, man. This bull crap. But yeah, you're absolutely right. No mention of him whatsoever, man, in the history, in their history of how AI came to be. Cold thing, ain't it? You're going to say, man, if we could create programs inside of AI, such as consulting and selling that kind of info to companies, is how we'll win. Yeah. And I also suggested, or it was suggested last night also, that we as a people, we do need to learn this stuff. We should learn this stuff. We need to learn this stuff because I think that, you know how we get out, man. As a people, this is how we do, man. We understand that a lot of stuff initially when it comes out, we're barred from it, right? And there's a reason. But we also realize as a people, okay, we'll get the gist of that. Don't worry about it. And when we do, it was nothing like they made it. You know what I mean? If they actually even had anything in making something. But anytime we get a hold of something, we perfect it, or we bring what could be called some perfection to it. We make it better. And so that was really the suggestion I was trying to impart last night to the people, especially to our youth. But I said, man, not just our youth, but all of us. We need to learn as much as we can. They got one program called the 28-day challenge. All right. 28 days, 15 minutes a day, and you will know AI. You will know AI to such an extent to where you can get a job right after that course, quicker than those who go to college, pay 100,000 or better, go to school for 4 years. You know what I mean? It still have to go through the same struggles most of us do. But they're saying this program is called, I think that's the name of it, 28-day challenge. And they would teach you how to do AI and not no surface stuff. You know what I mean? I think that should be imperative. I plan to, sit down with the wife and start this course. I think that's necessary. But I'm saying that to say that's just one step in the right direction. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's necessary that we learn this, because I'm thinking that the more of us who do learn this, the more knowledge we've accumulated. And some of these minds, man, I'm telling you, our minds, man, there's no greater mind on the planet Earth than the black mind. We have melanin even in our brains, so we're going to overcome whatever, man, but we have to know we're in a fight. We have to get involved, man, and partake in that which is trying to be denied us, that we're being barred from, so that we can, we might be behind the 8 ball just a little bit, or in front of it, however you look at that, half empty or half full, but there is this fact about us. Once we get it into our systems to want to know something, to be the best at it, that's exactly what we do. So I think that will be part of our saving grace, and that's why it was suggested for brothers, young and old, men and women, our kings and queens, to get knowledge of this stuff, man, so that we can be somewhat prepared. All right, I'm gonna move on. Yeah, I do agree with you on that one, though, Roscoe. Rakufu say, "Bud, man, mentioning the Jetsons, Rwanda has become Rwanda has become the world's first country to have AI helicopter taxis." I saw that, actually. I did. And yeah, they were the first to bring those out. But check this out. The Olympics will highlight here in Los Angeles the taxis, the AI helicopter taxis, So, but yeah, Rwanda was the first. And I think also, man, the way the way it may play out, I don't know, man. I'm not for leaving where our ancestors actually not just, laid roots, died here, sweat and toiled here, but built this. I don't think, it would be wise for us to leave this and go back to the motherland, you know. I'm thinking like most of us do. It's ours. And if that's the case, if we really think like that, and if we really feel it in our souls, then we have to prepare to defend what our people put work in for. It's my take on it. you know yeah, we need to learn all we can learn. Raymond Scott go and say I seen robots in the ER giving patients medications, checking blood pressure, and so on. Our brothers and sisters should learn about computers. That's so true. And again, the conversation last night, I thought it was a good exchange. I thought it was good dialogue in terms of what AI not only is capable or will be capable of doing, but what it is actually doing. I thought those conversations last night were good conversations. It was good dialogue we had. But they're already in the medical field. They already are. I'm willing to wager, because I'm going to research this, as to whether or not some of these Ivy League universities, some of these historical universities, whether or not they employ them or they use them already, in some aspect or another. I'd like to know if law firms are using them. I'm pretty sure that most court clerks, judges, attorneys, they benefit from using AI. But on a grander scale, I want to see, are they in the courtroom? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, man. I hear you though, Roscoe. They're already in the emergency, man. They're already in the hospitals. You're going to say, yeah. Yes, I took my daughter to see a movie called Megan. I saw both of them, part 1 and 2. And speaking of that, they have these. I'm gonna call them androids or cyborgs. Well, cyborg would, I think, have a mixture of the artificial intelligence and machinery with so-called texture skin and maybe even fluids, blood or whatever in them. But they have the androids. I was just watching some. Japan has them, America has them, China has them. They have them already, you know what I mean? So the movie again is just a representation of what's to come, or what is already, what is, you know what I mean? Art, life imitating art. Megan, that was a cold flick. And again, I watched this thing on the Chinese, man. I just watched some on the Japanese today. These robots, man, are agile, strong, fast, and you can't even tell the difference with some of them. And sometimes when we're in the streets, man, we don't know if we're looking at an android, or not. You just don't know, And I would wager they send them out into society and, monitor them, see how they interact, or to see how society interact with, an android or robot. Something they don't know is an android or a robot, It's all a part of the experiment, man. It's all a part of the research. They're here. Yeah, that was a good movie, though. I watched it. I watched both of them, both installments. Thought it was pretty good. Yeah. James said, man, I'm always stuck with YouTube from the basic days before streaming around circa 2006 until now. Yeah, for me, yeah, when that, I had a cell phone in prison, I think. Got my first cell phone in prison was like, believe it or not, man. I was exposed to a cell phone, the Razor, the flip, Motorola, I think it was. My boys, man, my bros from up north put me in the game. Like, man, this was happening. I'm like, the fuck? How the fuck you get it? How'd you get this in here? But there it was. And next time I know, I'm calling numbers. I'm like, hey, man, I'll never forget it. But I think my first cell phone was about 2004, maybe 2005. I'll give it that, 2005. Yeah. Anyway, hey, man, there it was, in the game. And I was doing everything with that phone, man. You know, because it was new to me. Everything, man. Reading everything, seeing everything. Yeah, it was different, man. It opened my eyes to a lot of shit. So I get what you mean by that, though, man. And YouTube seemed to be what I'm stuck on more than anything else, also. James said, man, that's what you said, James. Appreciate it. But you're going to say 95% of them platforms are garbage. TikTok, Twitter, and all that stupidity. Just look at scumbags who own and operate it. Yeah. But again, it's actually, you could say it's genius. You could say it's genius, man. Just think about it. Think about it, man. In a lot of ways, it's genius financially speaking. Here's a technology that they utilize to make them super, super rich. And then also here's a technology that is able to dumb down society, stymie, mental growth, to distract mankind or human beings, especially to distract us, man. So I have to say, man, yeah, man, for all the BS we see on these platforms, the content that is in them or on them is just a lot of BS, But I'm telling you, man, we have to look at it from a different perspective, man. It is serving a purpose. I don't think we're, as a people, any more intelligent because of it. I think we're dumber as a result of it. That's what I think. There was a saying, and you may remember this, James, you as well, Roscoe, Rakufu, Antonio, that back in the day in prison, there was a stance against television. We called it the dumb box. Too much television was not any good. And this is why back in the day in prison, there was a certain time your TV could come on. Yeah, it was your TV, but the rule was it's a dumb box. It's an idiot box, and brothers were mindful of that, they were mindful of that. And that's why there were study periods, hours of study periods, exercise periods before it was allowed, or you were allowed to turn on the television in prison. It's just that now cell phones, because that's your television now, but with a little more information, so we think they are the new, idiot device. They are all distracting. They dumb us down. They don't improve our mindsets, man, not on a whole, you know what I mean? Not only that, but just like the television, those who sell them, those who sell, cell phones, or who provide platforms for social media, stroke of genius, man. And financially speaking as well, again, in terms of how society acts as a result of them, So, man, I have to say that, man. I have to say that, man. Hoodwinked and bamboozled, led astray. Okay, that's just my take on it, man. But yeah, I appreciate that, James, man. Raymond Scott said, man, I took my daughter to see a movie called Megan. This is a doll who can pair with humans. The doll eventually develops superior intelligence above than what she was programmed. AI is gonna get wild, and that's the thing I was talking about. I did a piece on the art of political discourse today on that, specifically talking about artificial intelligence transition, and I think that again there's AI, there's AGI, and there's ASI. AGI again is artificial general intelligence. ASI is artificial superior intelligence. Go figure. All right, that's the one that's going to not only be able to program itself beyond what was coded in it by human beings, it can also get rid of that, discard that, and create its own code. Not only that, it can also tap into other artificial and intelligences and code them. Hey man, I think we're gonna be in them for a rough time. And then I think most of the problem though is that these creators of artificial intelligence, those who make these or create these systems to input in these devices, none of them have any morals or principles. None of them have integrity. None of them want to put in place, in these systems, fail safes, things of that nature, things that can fry the circuit of AI if it does anything other than what it's coded to do. So these people, they don't want it. They don't want it to be able to do that. They don't want to be able, or they don't want the manufacturers, the programmers, those who make these systems to encode in these machines, basically certain fail safes, certain levels that they can't ascend or go beyond. Again, Pete Hegseth, Department of War, told the guy Dario Amodi, we don't want our AI fucked with. Let it be. Basically, let it be. We don't want it to be woke. We don't want none of that crap. I'm like, okay, man. So that's gonna open the door for that. And then you have all these other companies who are vying for producing that system that's going to be capable of be autonomous, being able to think for itself. And they're doing this. They're in a race to develop this, man, for countries and governments, super rich, who want that type of get down. That's going to be a threat, man. It's going to be detrimental to us. But yeah. Okay, Rakufu said, man, no, David Blackwell did not create AI, but he did create foundational mathematics without much modern AI, without which modern AI would not exist. Yes, he wrote. It was from what I understand, it was his mathematic theory. He's the one that actually opened the door for them. He bought or wrote or had the formula or the calculation for AI. Without his ability to do that, without his mindset to bring that to the table, AI would not be what it is today. No, he did not create AI. He made it to where AI, to where others could understand how to not just make AI, but make it do what you want it to do, to program it or encode it. I think that's the word. I'm tempted to go look it up right now, but neither here or there. I appreciate that, Rakufu. No, he did not create AI, but I did. I had some information. In fact, I dropped a piece on that as well. It's part of the content at the Art of Political Discourse, where white scientists, artificial intelligence and scientists, those who helped create it, said he was, let them tell it, he was the first to create the code for this, So go back and watch that, man. I dropped that a couple of weeks ago. I'm hoping y'all go and check that out, man, on the Art of Political Discourse, man. In fact, let me drop this in here for those who are new to this. Get out. This is Under the Groove Podcast. Please like, share, comment, follow, and subscribe if you see fit. This is where we get down with the get down. And we tend to focus on the focus here, all right? Everything is above board. Our discourse, our dialogue, our conversations are done in respect and love for one another. That's just it. That's all right? But also go check out the Art of Political Discourse. I appreciate it if you guys would. Please like, share, comment, follow, and subscribe to that one, all right? The more the merrier. And not only that, but I'm getting into the habit of putting forth more informative as well as educational content for the people. And I think it's necessary. I do it because I know it's necessary. So there that is, man. Again, Rakufu, thanks for that, man, that you pointing that out. Oh, and you said that was Chat GPT's answer. I've read some again today. So, and we were saying this. We were talking about this last week about AI and Chat GPT and all the others. We have to be careful with taking what they say as truth. You know, I saw today that what's coded in them is how they're going to reply. So I said this also a week or so ago. They're not putting the truth in there. They just can't. It would not benefit them to do that. So Chat GP is only going to be able to give us that information we asked for based upon the information that was encoded in it. And so I'm saying that to say some of it, you have to take into account that a lot of the truth is missing. And this is why they can't speak, or it can't speak on a lot of things, you know, for the same reason we can't, because we haven't been privy to that knowledge, to that education, you know. So that makes all the sense in the world to me. Raymond Scott said, man, I'm going to do a piece on him. They have a systematic plan to erase our people's accomplishments. They know who we are, bub. We have to learn who we are. My channel will shed light on that, and I hope to be a part of that. I hope to also just continue to shed light on the circumstances surrounding not just what we're going through today, but what we've been through, you know, yesterday, you know, in the past, you know, shedding light on our history. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. There's a lot being left out of the equation. There's a lot being covered over, a lot being erased about our history and our accomplishments. And that's done on purpose. We've said this. Donald Trump is, it's a fact, is in support of doing away with any contribution, I think, in terms of this country's history. He don't want it to be named, or he does not want us to have what we call, for instance, Black history. You know, he wants to erase that altogether. He wants it to be called American history. But I'm going to tell y'all something. That's not new. That's not new. When you go into Wikipedia or any of these other platforms, man, and you look up certain authors, musicians, you know, artists, whatever, our people, melanated people, they don't label them Black. They don't label them African American, Black American, and none of that. They just call them American. So what Donald Trump is doing is not new. And I recognized this a long time ago. So they'll give you a name and they'll tell you what this person contributed to history, but they won't tell you his ethnicity, the ethnicity of the individual. They never disclose that. And this has been going on for a long time. Remember, I told you when I first got my cell phone, that was one of the things I used to do. You know, go look up people, you know, and Wikipedia was there. And it never described them as African American, Black American, FBA, melanated, colored, Negro, or the N-word, right? Now that goes double for dictionaries. I'm a big fan of dictionaries, you know. I have a dictionary I've had for over 20 years, you know, and I still use it. But when you go and look up individuals, you know what I mean, people in history, and you come across our people, some of them we recognize them by name, you know what I mean? There's no description of their ethnicity. So again, Donald Trump didn't start this. You know, he's just picking up where they left off at. He's going to make sure that we aren't given the credit as a people, you know, as melanated people, in terms of the contributions to not just this country and society, but the world, you know. And then again, this is a concerted effort. This is what they do, man. This is what they do. So in years and years to come, when they're able to erase the ethnicity of people, those 200 years from now, 300 years from now, if they are successful, those in power are successful at erasing the ethnicity of people, especially our people and the contributions to the world, our people won't know, won't probably know, man, that they were just like them, look just like them. So therefore, there's no reason to have a certain pride or dignity. There would be no reason to try or attempt to identify with these people, to be inspired and motivated by them. It's a concerted effort, man. What we see going on, man, yeah, it's some foul stuff, man. It's foul, I have to say. But don't, if no one believes me, go check it out. And unless things change in dictionaries, Merriam-Webster College Edition, and they're putting ethnicities alongside a person's name and birth and or demise. Hey, that's new to me. Again, I was just looking at some today in Wikipedia, and there was no mention of that individual's ethnicity, and I'm talking about a black person. So what Trump is doing is not new. He's just picking up wherever they dropped the baton. He's picking it up, and we're gonna carry it forward. This how we getting down. Ain't no black history. Nah, ain't that. Nah. American history. It's our country. That's how he talks. So, yep, there you go, man. I'm gonna read that again, Raymond Scott, man. You said, I'm going to do a piece on him. They have a systematic plan to erase our people's accomplishments. They know who we are. We have to learn who we are. My channel will shed light on that, man. And hey, I salute you, and hey, man, I support you, bro. All right. And again, this is what we say, but what we should be saying every day, man. We need more of this. We need our brothers and sisters to get off of stupid, man, and get on what really is going to help us succeed or go forward in this world, man. It's going to help our futures. We need to be not stuck on stupid, but more to the point of focus on progress and excellence. That's it. That's it. Anything else, man, I'm telling you, y'all, it's a problem. It's going to be a problem, and we got enough of them. But anyway, let me move on. Rakufu said, Bub, could you imagine a AI robot manufacturing, malfunctioning and choking you out at night while you sleep? Now, I ain't going to think about nothing because they ain't going to be up in here. They not going to be up in here. I promise you. I've already thought about this shit, man. I promise you. Ain't going to be no robot made. My wife said to me before, I need a robot made. I said, yeah, I'll be dead. I won't be up in here. I won't be up in here. Come on, man. No, man. Shit. Oh, I won't. Shit, man. I never wake up because the thing that choked me out while I was asleep. And they strong. Man, they said, man, the strength of these robots, man. Nah, man, not up in here. I had to be dead and gone. That's the only way, man. And then not only that, like I said, I think about this stuff quite often. Just securing, what we are. I mean, man, because them things snatch doors off of shit. They kick doors in, man. I want to fortify every entranceway into this bad boy, from the top floor to the bottom. Damn's just some bar gates and shit and bars on the windows. You better have some stuff in place, man. Because them things, man, I'm telling you, when they malfunction, ain't nobody going to be safe, man. Ain't nobody going to be safe. I'm smiling, man, because I'm, shit. I don't know, man. One day I'll tell y'all all about it, man. I look forward to some shit, Okay, now we can get down. Let's go in, Let's go all in, shit. Shoot. No, I can't imagine that though, bro. And I advise that you don't either. Raymond Skull said, man, myself and Baby Nutman from the fold with Sellies. We did turn our televisions off at certain times to study and reflect. And that was just the way it was, man. I have to admit that. And I'm not, ashamed to admit that there was a certain rule or protocol in place that was actually beneficial to us. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of individuals didn't like it, because it came from those that structure, those protocols came from individuals who are a part of certain structures, if you know what I mean. A lot of brothers were not. However, it did serve. It served, brothers. It served their intellect. It served their growth, and this is why I think that it went off as well as it did initially. A lot changed in the '80s, man. A lot that was beneficial to us, that helped us not only to survive in prison, but to excel and be, you know, um, fell to the wayside, man. Fell to the wayside. Yeah, that's what it was, man. The TV came on at a certain time and it went off at a certain time. Saturdays and Sundays were exceptions, you know what I mean? In terms of nighttime, as well as day, if I remember correctly. But Monday through Friday, or actually, man, anytime them doors had action at being racked and popped open, your TV, you didn't want to have your TV on because that's a distraction. That's a distraction. So, yeah, man, that was going on though, Roscoe. Like I do, man. That's what it was. That's what it was. Let me see. Roscoe said, do you still have all things politics channel? No, it's the same channel, bro. It's just under a different name. All things politics is now named the art of political discourse. That's the name of the channel. It's no longer all things politics. It is now the art of political discourse. Same channel with all the content that was under the name all things politics is now under the art of political discourse. So you'll find it all there. That's where it is, bro. Jay Britton, I hope I'm saying Newell, Jay Britton Newell. All right, hey brother, peace and blessings to you and yours, man. Grand Rising, good to see you up in here. You're more than welcome to be here. Let me see. You're saying don't fall back, move forward. You are just an American with your own heritage. That's like everyone that's a real American. We are our heritage. Everyone can be proud of their individual heritage. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that when those of our heritage, our lineage, where we come from, that contributed something to society, are being erased in this respect, where their identity is being erased. I think that's an issue. And that should be an issue with anybody. I don't care what ethnicity you are, what heritage you're from, I think that's a problem, but appreciate your comment. It makes a lot of sense, I'm not against it, I'll read it again. Don't fall back, move forward. You are just an American with your own heritage. That's like everyone that's a real American. We are our heritage. Everyone can be proud of their individual heritage. And let's make, since we're, in that vein, or on that, it seems to be in that vein or on that line of correction in terms of what we are. Let's understand something also, people. When we say we are American, we're really not giving our heritage its credit, because the fact of the matter is America is just a geographical location. It is not or a description of a people, or its heritage, So let's be careful in terms of how we use words, because words do have meanings, America and American, that just depicts, it denotes a geographical location, just as well as Africa, Europe, China, Russia, Japan. These are all just geographical locations, This is where most of us came way before bondage got here, and this is where most of us came as a result of bondage, Turtle Island, America, North America, but that's just a part of, our history in terms of where we've been, how far we come or whatever that may, or however that goes. But our heritage also speaks to our identity. So let's not be too quick to brush over that or disregard it, and I think that's just important, that's just me, that's just me. But again, man, our thing is to make sure that I think that one of the first things we should be mindful of is our identity, you know, is our identity, and then the next is we should be mindful of or should want to have as a part of our identity is to be educated or have an education, to be educated in knowing what your identity is as well as what your heritage is, So there's that, heritage, very important. I don't disagree. So I appreciate that comment up in there. Yep. That's what I say. Has a lot to do with shaping our identity and who we are. The whole nine, y'all. The whole nine. But again, Jay Britton, man, appreciate you up in here, man. Again, man, you're more than welcome to be here. You are touching bases with the people. This is this Get Down from Monday to Fridays, 6:15 to 8:15, 8:30. This is what we do. This is Under the Groove podcast, man. Again, everything here is above board, man. Our discussions, the dialogues we have, the conversations, man, are done with respect first, love also. And hey, man, we can agree to disagree and still be brothers and sisters, kings and queens, man. All right. So, hey, welcome. All right. Please also like, share, comment, follow, and subscribe to Under the Groove podcast if you see fit. All right, bro. Appreciate you. Raymond Cole said, man, they began doing that practice in ancient times. That's what the Greeks did to the Egyptians. Either they rewrite our history or blot it out, or as you say, misclassify us. And that's what they do. They do a lot of that. I think, though, the downfall of what told on the Greek, especially the Greek, man, was a lot of their artifacts. They weren't mindful of what they were painting on their vases, on their vases or vases. All these black images, showing them shit, teaching, helping them to learn or educating them. They forgot that part. They missed that part. And so in spite of them, in spite of themselves trying to erase or cover over, even misclassify us, man, it was right there the whole time. It was right there. The contradiction, man. So it's okay though, man. It is okay. Rakufu said, man, the Prime Video company has bought from Paramount. The Prime Video company has bought from Paramount and are in the process of revamping the Stargate series. They should start that again, actually. Again, I told you, I'm a big fan, man. I'm a big fan. And I'm gonna tell you what used to intrigue me most about Stargate Rakufu was the symbiote. And I swear to you, man, I kind of liken that to our melanin. You know what I mean? This is another, this thing, really almost has a mind of its own, a vibe of its own. You know what I mean? If we allow it, man, it could take us places. It can, we'd be better people because of it, I think. But that's what intrigued me about Stargate when I first saw it, man, the symbiote. And how it interacted with, the body, the host it went into, how it empowered them, how it made them either feared, respected, great, all those things, man. That was one of my shows right there, man. That was one of my shows. I hope they do bring that back, because I can actually get into that. That would be a good show to be in. But yeah, man, I'm surprised at myself tonight, you guys. I've kept up. I've kept up tonight. Normally I'm just But yeah, speaking of sci-fi though, Rakufu, I was talking to the wife about that today. I love sci-fi. you know. And if we pay attention, a lot of what goes on in sci-fi, we'll get some pointers, you know, because they, you know, they say shit. They say shit, man. Not only that, but I learned that um some of sci-fi, I was about to say most of sci-fi, these shows, books, and all that written. I was about to say most of, but I'm not going to go that far. Some of sci-fi, in terms of film, books, and stuff, you know, things of that nature, is written by America's #1 spy agency, the CIA. They write, man, they write quite a bit of this sci-fi stuff, you know. Write the manuscripts and sit and pass it, you know, to the studios, you know, give them to directors and stuff. You know, it's crazy, man, but that's true. You know, again, I'm a fan because I think that, excuse me, sci-fi, it is telling you, you know, it's giving you an idea, man, of what to expect. It allows you to have some vision, you know, an imagination, even. You know, I think the two are different, but you know, either or, man. Sci-fi is good in that respect. My wife was putting me up on one a series, in fact, called Paradise, and she said, "Hey, check this out," and you know, this is what's going on, you know. So I'm geared to start watching Paradise. Again, y'all, I'm not good with series because you know series, man, they start off good and then boom, they get, you know, oh man, then they want to tell me some, you know, they lose me, man. They lose me. They don't know how to stick just to the sci-fi aspect of it. I don't think that, I tell my wife all the time, I don't think a lot of writers who write scripts, and that would include the CIA, don't really have good vision, you know, because all these scripts, what most movies, most script series and all, they all end the same. They all have the same storylines and stuff. There's no real um I want to say ingenuity, but that's not the right word. There's nothing new brought to, you know, the way they write scripts, movies, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature, and the way they end, you know, the antagonist, the protagonist, and all this, it's all the same. The movies end the same way, as most of them start the same way. You know, and I find a lot of the stuff on TV just boring, you know. And again, it's very rare that I catch or I get a good one. That I get a good one. When I do, I'm a fan, you know. I'm a fan because I'm not bored by it. Queen and Zinga 7-4 said it's always a love interest in everything. I don't know if did I use the word love, and if I did, I'd want to correct myself and not. I don't have a love. I enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy it. You know, I like certain sci-fi movies, and certain, you know, again, certain scripts, certain series. I like Stranger Things. You know what I mean? But put love interest on it, I don't know. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, that's my baby. Anyway, yeah, man. So um here we are, you know. I think we're in a time, man, where if if you don't use your imagination, if you don't allow vision, your inner vision, that third eye to see things differently, if you aren't willing to step outside of the box or that encasement in terms of how we're led to think a certain way, as well as act a certain way, speak a certain way, be a certain way, then yeah, we'll always be encased in this thing, man, this box. But the moment we're willing to allow ourselves, man, to escape from the confinements, man, of you know, certain structures, man, that are especially are hindering, that would hinder, you know, man's capacity or ability to evolve. You know, the first time we're able to get away from that, man, we do what? We evolve. We evolve beyond imagination, man, beyond visions that we have. You know, And that leads me to say, man, a lot of what we see in society today, especially in our communities, is there for a reason. It's there to prevent us to uh from evolving, to stagnate our growth. We use the term here, it is meant to arrest our development, you know, as not just as a people, man, but as superior beings. And I say that unapologetically, you know, I mean no offense to anyone. I say it, you know, respectfully, but unapologetically, you know. We are those people. But um I think, just another, you know, take on life, or, you know, human beings, as I call it. We 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 helped the wrong people in history, you know, going back. We did ourselves a disservice, not knowing back then that this would be the outcome of being loving, um, of being compassionate, you know, of being educators, you know, nurturers and stuff. We didn't know that this would be the outcome. I don't think, you know. Um, those who we initially helped, man, didn't deserve it. We know that now, because we can see, you know, the effects of what they learned and how they learned to use the knowledge that was given to them in a negative sense, man. How they learn to use all that they learned against, you know, human beings, you know, the people who educated them, you know, who actually, you know, brought them here, have a, you know, have a whole lot to do with their being here in the first place. We have to, though, get to the point where we, again, man, we escape, man, for that box, you know, from them parameters, them borders, you know, that are set up, man, to keep us contained. We have to, you know, we have to bust out, man, so that we can be all that we can be, you know, so that we can flex our intellectual talents. You know, that's what I think, man. It's in us to do it, you know. We just have to break away from those things that distract us, man, beyond anything we've ever known before. You know, slavery couldn't keep us. But for whatever reason, man, this what we see going on has a hold on us. And I'm saying, man, social media has has us captive, you know, and social media in the negative sense, you know, that part of social media that we see that is aiding and abetting the destruction, or, you know, the degradation, the degrading, you know, of not just our communities, but us as a people. We got to get past this, man. There ain't nobody else going to get us past this. You know, this is on us. Now we have this technology coming, this artificial intelligence that is upon us, and the probability of it doing worse to us than what we've already been through is great. If we don't prepare for this, man, I'm telling you, man, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You know, I don't hope nothing. I say that we are within our capacity, psychologically, spiritually, you know, physically, man, to overcome, supersede, you know, go beyond, you know, this what we in, you know, to get out of this mess we're in, man. But it's on us to do it. It's on us to do it. We got to want to do it, man. We got to want to put forth that same energy to this, to writing ourselves, to correcting who we are, you know, what we're about. The same way, man, we put forth that energy when we want to be destructive or negative towards one another, towards our brothers and our sisters, you know, our melanated family. You know, it's an effort that's required from us, man. If you know, if the ambition, if the goal is to do better, then yeah, there's a certain effort that's required, man, to reach that point, or to get to that point to where we start to create changes or make changes in our lives that's going to better us. We got to get past the point where we're asking people for things, you know, be it the government, anybody outside of us. If it's not black first, if it's not dealing with us first, then we're making a mistake. We're making the same mistakes that were made in the past that I think have a lot to do with where we are now. We have to think in terms of not just our survival, but our empowerment, our elevation, our rightful place on the world stage. That's I think that's what most of us, we aspire to. It's our aspirations. We look to do better, not just for ourselves but our people. So, but again, that's going to take effort. That's going to take a whole lot of effort. All right. And that's a fact. That is a fact. So there that is. Again, oh, and there was one thing. This is outside of what we're talking about, but I did some research today, man. I didn't know that in the world, every year in this world, man, that there are 900,000, actually more than that, but just, not to be fair, but just, make sense of what I'm saying. Over 900,000 children every year are abducted or end up missing. All right. What I did find out also today was that those who say they monitor this thing or have data on it, they want to say, well, we had 30 or 40% of those are runaways. I'm like, okay, man, be that as it may. Let's say 30, 40% are runaways, that still leaves like, 600 or 500,000 children. It actually is more, y'all. I promise you, it's in the millions yearly in terms of global missing children. But even if that's the case, man, why isn't there an outrage, man, about, the abduction or these children going missing like that? It don't make you wonder, here in the United States. Well, here in California, man, annually is something like the numbers right, like 60,000 a year. In LA, they're saying it's about 13,000 a year just in LA. Again, man, where's outrage? Especially when certain things are taking place in the world where there's this thing that I think is a thriving business, man. Human trafficking, human sex trafficking, man. It's going on, and these people are being discovered, or it's being found out these people are getting down the way they're getting down. Why is there not just an outrage that is enough to stop any government, any country from functioning until they find out what's going on? It makes you wonder, man. At least it does me. It makes me wonder. For the life of me, I don't understand how this is possible or how this is even every year this is occurring. So in 5 years, you're talking about millions of children. That's not only scary, that's sad. I want to put that in y'all heads, man, before we wrap this thing up, because we're going to wrap it up. Just know that, again, man, power is in the people. The power to do better, the power to know better, the power to be better educated, to be more loving, to be unified. You know what I mean? Be one. That's a power we possess. Don't nobody else possess it like we do. I think that once we get to the point where we understand what we are capable of, what our power is like, especially as a unit, as one. Once we get to that knowledge, that understanding, man, we'll then understand how, changing the world won't be just a dream. It becomes a reality because we're flexing, our power. We're utilizing our power to change the world. And when I say change the world, I don't mean just for us, because that's something that should come first. We help ourselves before we can help anybody else. But a power that's strong enough, man, just to change the world. All right. Let's think about that, man. I'm gonna leave everybody with, y'all know how we go. Y'all know how we do. James, man, what you say? Because people are effing lames, bub, and worried about bullshit or little first world issues that ain't got nothing to do with reality. We got a lot of idiots living in fantasy. So true, bro. You're going to say our people are spineless, in my opinion. Like Master Cody said, we some of the scariest people on this earth. We get punked by everybody. Damn. Everybody but each other. We ain't scared of each other, but we scared of everybody else. We let everybody else punk us, but we won't let each other punk each other. That's some crazy stuff, man. Let's change that, man. Let's see if that can be worked on. We have to find a way, man, to do better. To not be in fear, man. Not be scared. To not be scared, man. And for those in fear, man, that don't have to be mainstay, man, in our lives. Fear is something, man, that don't have to always conquer us, or don't have to conquer us at all, man. And again, I think a lot of our problems come from the fact that we have been miseducated. We have been misled, by everybody. And in some cases ourselves, be that as it may, man, it's only us are going to be able to help us out this problem. That's it. Out of the fear that encompasses us, that stops us or prevents us from being men and women, kings and queens, man, to the point where, just fear of being, the original man and woman, shit, we should have fear of turning on each other more than anything else. It's another thing we need to work on. All right, Xavier Orion, I see you. Xavier Orion, Austin, Texas, tapping in. Appreciate to have you. You already know this is Under the Groove Podcast, and you are touching bases with the people. Peace and blessings, bro. We appreciate seeing you in here. Please like, share, comment, follow, and subscribe to Under the Groove Podcast. All right, if you see fit. Also, go and check out our other channel, The Art of Political Discourse. Please like, share, follow, comment, and subscribe to that one as well. We would appreciate your viewership and participation, bro. So again, man, thanks for tapping in, Austin, Texas. All right. Listen, people, let's get it together. Again, man, I think our first responsibility, I think, is to love yourself. To love yourself. And I'm telling you that to love yourself, it will open up a whole new world for you, man. That third eye gonna open up, man. That spirit's gonna connect with the mind, body. So that mind, body, and soul is working as one unit. Love for self is very important. Without it, man, ain't nothing happening. All right. But when we got love for self, guess what? We got love for our people, love for our own kind. We're gonna represent that. We're gonna push that. We're gonna be about that. Be one equals black first, y'all. But in order for that to be something, be real, we have to love ourselves. So love yourself so that you can love someone else look just like you, man. Not only that, man, take care of yourself. Learn how to take care of yourself, man. And by doing that, it's just like love, man. You'll want to take care of your brother and sister, that other king and queen. All right. Just keep that in mind, y'all. All right. Appreciate you, man. Okay. You saying, I see you though in here, Xavier. Appreciate you, man. Did the like word up. All right. Appreciate that, man. This is right in time for me on. All right. So just so you know, also, Xavier, every Monday and Friday, man, from 6:15 to 8:15, 8:30. This is where we meet up. And this meeting is called Touching Bases with the People. Again, man, we appreciate you coming in and touching bases with us. We hope to see you tomorrow, my brother. All right. And on that note, man, y'all know how this go. You have been, you are, and you will be under the groove. Power is in the people, man. Black fist, be one. Black first, all right? Love yourselves, everyone. Oh, no, you ain't never late, sister. And just so y'all know, in an hour or so, this will be on regular YouTube, Under the Groove, all right? Under the Groove podcast. All love and peace and blessings to you, Lisa Moore. We love you, Queen. She's sorry I'm late, big bro, but I'm here. I'm here. Blessings, peace and love to all the kings and queens in the chat. Be one, black first. Your love. Hey, what we say, better late than never, all right? We love you, sister. Take care of yourself. Have a blessed rest of your day, all right? It has been a grand rising, everybody. Again, take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hurst, and writing future history. From the Apollo to the borough to the sphere. Where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transform suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance will prologue every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws, and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. That's in the sergeant. This is once a less than Hatters, hats, and Mercedes. Please don't you, I can't stop us. Power sensitive, watch the applause for pose. Need your data, talks and counsel, any problem when the wet just wanna build the seats and bait. Now don't get the pause. It's just erasing up the times, plead the markets off the main. Make it on the fans, turn and neck and love the durn suffers like a kesha. You were wrong to preaching up on side as each alone, but on the shake and untrue seeing vets and wonder very it's on Gary Land. Be hell in heaven, you see what the bonafide. You wait talking for the marker, make the key to move the club and saw the bloods to the singer land is carried open slowly. Keep us looking on my mother, break your generosity for the heat and let the peasant be and every time we keep a spawn.